Hello and welcome to another episode of the Meaningful Marketing Podcast. Today I have Katrina Puranik here from Ranking Australia. And we're going to talk about SEO because a lot of times I see people on Facebook and Facebook groups, on LinkedIn, all talking about SEO. Do I need SEO? Is it worth something? Is it something I should be investing in? How do I manage my SEO on an ongoing basis? Can my virtual assistant do SEO? Can ChatGPT do SEO? So today, Katrina is going to help debunk and answer some of those questions for us today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Chantal. Happy to be here on the Meaningful Marketing Podcast. SEO. Everyone comes to me and, SEO. I need SEO, but do they really actually understand what they're asking for? SEO, in a nutshell, basically, it's marketing that you don't have to pay per click, right? So we all want to be able to make as much money as we can without spending, wads of or huge amounts of money. So what we need to do essentially for SEO is to, research what it is your clients actually want and need, and you need to come at it from that aspects. So what problems you solve, which so whether you're a service-based business or product-based business, you would have a ton of research and obviously already industry-based knowledge on what clients need and want and what makes your product or service stand out. And that is where you start for your research. But it's all comes down to data because, so for example, what is it? The phrase, and I'm using this only because we work a lot with health and wellness businesses, particularly with medical practitioners. So, for example, vestibular migraines. Who's actually researching vestibular migraines? This is for our clinical hypnosis practitioner, and well, yeah, there's a heap of search volume for that, but clients aren't searching necessarily. It's most likely the practitioners or students, or they've heard about it and they want to know what it is. But what are they looking for when they're looking for the service? They're looking for the actual clinic. They're looking for the hypnotic sessions, or will hypnosis help me with my migraine, or these sort of things. So what are all the branching out long tail key phrases? And I say key phrases, keywords is a thing of the past because you cannot just target one word, 2 words. It's a long tail key phrase. It's a sentence. It's a question. People that thinks that in the minds of your clients that you need to build into your strategy. And if you are clever about planning content around those needs and structuring your site as such, then you'll end up seeing that you have more visibility on Google, and you push that content out across your social channels for signals and such, and reputation management, your Google business profiles, all those sort of things. It's not just on your website. SEO is not on your website alone. It's a holistic strategy for organic marketing. So wherever you can place your content for relevant visibility as well.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, there's so much in there that's awesome. And I always talk about effective communication and being able to effectively communicate to the clients what you do and how it can help them. But here's the thing. It's not about you using the language that you use to explain that. It's about using the language that they are using and that they are searching for. And it's about creating it and understanding it. So I always say you've got to become like a stalker, really stalk and get to know them, because you've got to understand the phrases that they're using, the words that they're using, where they're hanging out, the content that they're searching for. So you can truly have what I like to say, a two-sided conversation with someone online. It's not you talking at your customers through your content, it's talking with them. It's a two-sided conversation. And SEO is part of that. And what I love about this as well is it's about 2 things here that we're kind of talking about. And that is, one, having a strategy. So going in there and doing research, truly understanding who your ideal customer is, coming up with what that strategy is, that content or SEO strategy is to create that content. But the second part is making sure that you've got the foundations right, that you're actually going in and setting things up right. Because, for example, if you don't set up your Facebook account right, if you don't set up your Instagram account right, if you 6 years ago filled out your about section on Facebook and you went, and this happens all the time, they go, oh, I'll get to that later, I'll come back and fill that in. And then they wonder why it's not working because you actually haven't put the words into the platform. You haven't taken the time to actually set it up correctly and put the right words in there so that you can actually help the platform find your ideal clients. And you can actually help the algorithm when we're talking about it, because that's what it is. It's algorithms be able to find you because it's the words that you put in that help connect you with your ideal clients online. And you don't have to pay for it when you set it up correctly. So I love that. Strategy, foundations, really, really awesome for SEO. So let's talk about ads versus SEO, because with SEO, obviously you can firstly, I believe with SEO, you've got to first make sure you set up things correctly. You have that strategy. And then you're going to maybe invest in getting ongoing SEO. And then there's stuff that you can manage yourself on an ongoing basis. And we'll talk a bit about that later. But let's talk about ads versus SEO, because what I like to say is that if it's not working organically, it's not going to work with ads.
That's correct. 100%, Chantal. With SEO versus ads, it's never it's not a battle between them. It needs to be a glorious handshake. It's a really intimate relationship between SEO and Google Ads, and you're going to spend a lot. You're going to get a much better return on your investment or return on ad spend if your SEO is optimized completely in the green. If you're using WordPress, you know what I mean by green light. With an SEO plugin, it'll tell you how good you're targeting that particular keywords that you've got in there, whether that's the right one or not. But you essentially want to make sure that your landing page that you've optimized, and yes, landing pages need to be SEO optimized regardless of whether they've got ads pointing to them or not. Your landing page is your key cornerstone content. It's what's going to convert clients. So you want it to be optimized, because what it means is the difference between spending $1 per click versus, even in some cases $10 per click. Think about it from say a lawyer perspective. A cost per click recommendation, if you're using certain tools to give you a rough estimate, could be in the realm of 10 to 15, sometimes $20 per click. Digital transformation, $48 cost per click. Wow. Now you can actually use that as a guide if you've got really well structured SEO, very well optimized website. That $48 cost per click can actually go down to $5 cost per click. It just depends on how well you've utilized the strategy in harmony with your Google Ads. So whatever you're targeting over here in your SEO needs to be targeted in and structured around your Google Ads campaign as well. And there's multiple levels of that as well.
Yeah, excellent. So that strategy is so incredibly important. So let's talk a little bit about virtual assistants then, and because there's this massive, trend towards getting virtual assistants, whether or not they're Australian freelancers or in-house marketing managers or offshore virtual assistants to come on and manage the marketing, right? And for example, they might say to them, the business owner might say to them, right, virtual assistant, thank you very much. Now I want you to manage the SEO. Okay. So what are some of the pros and cons or some of the things that you've seen with business owners saying to the virtual assistant, okay, you go manage the SEO, bearing in mind that I always say is that virtual assistants and your marketing managers are absolutely phenomenal implementers and will implement whatever you give them, but they do need the strategy.
While VAs are great to get stuff done, you still need expert direction. So you need to be able to give them what they need to publish, because they're essentially across many tasks. So, and it's a common issue that we've come across in the past. I'll just get my VA to do it. Hold up, if we're doing this, and you've got to do this first. You've got to tell them or give them the actual SEO to implement and tell them where. And they'll miss a lot of the technical aspects of SEO. So it's not just content. It's the alt tags on images. It's the alt tags on links. It's making sure that they have ticked every box on that SEO checklist as far as technical snippets go and things like that, and not just publishing on the website, but pushing it out to Google Business Profile as well, and to your social media to bring them back into the website and whatnot. So there's definitely an informed strategy required when dealing with virtual assistants, and as far as copy, when you're looking at SEO. Copy, it really needs to be informed by a specific style of marketing that your clients resonate with. And problem, agitate, solution is a favorite for a lot. But for SEO in general, for Google, it's the EEAT, expertise. Forgive me, the acronym's gone, but essentially establish your expertise, provide examples, and give authority and build trust and engage them with the CTA. So that is what Google loves. In other words, showing that you know what you're doing, you can deliver, and you can prove that as well. So building up that reputation management is a key part to the SEO, which a lot of people miss.
Yeah, so true. And I think when it comes to outsourcing your marketing to somebody, often the business owners can better communicate who they help and what they do. So coming up with the long tail, phrases and really understanding the customers comes a lot easier to them. But when they outsource it to a marketing manager or a virtual assistant, especially if we're talking about going offshore, it's not their fault. But the reality is that they may not truly understand what that product is. And I'll use an example. I'm working with a client at the moment in New Zealand who owns a fencing company. And their virtual assistant is in the Philippines. And they don't have timber fencing in the Philippines. So when you're getting the virtual assistant now to create content about timber fencing, it now becomes absolutely imperative that the business owner spends time with them to give them the SEO strategy to help them in the effective communication of being able to communicate the product. And this is something that I do, obviously, when we're working with business owners. We help them with their content plan. We come up with the branding, the key messages, and the content pillars. And that's important because, therefore, you've now got the recipe that you can hand to someone. So there's a base level that they can at least start from.
Just to kind of rein that one in, your VA is only as good as what you give them. So if you're giving them a piecemeal approach, then that's what you're going to get when it comes to actually having people engage with your content. So don't necessarily get rid of your VA. Give them the right stuff, give them the content, give them what they need, and be specific. So, tie in ChatGPT if you like, to go, right, so here's what I want to be implemented. Tell ChatGPT to create instructions based on this for your platform, and then they will have a step-by-step instructions in order to implement properly.
Yeah, awesome. So let's talk a little bit about ChatGPT then, because a lot of businesses are going into, ChatGPT. It's either the business owner or the virtual assistants, and they're going, for example, create an SEO blog. But if they haven't customized their ChatGPT, or if they haven't actually gone in and explained to ChatGPT who their ideal client is and what they're struggling with, and they don't have that overall strategy, what you're going to get is cookie cutter. So talk a little bit about ChatGPT and what you find with ChatGPT doing SEO.
Well, that's a mixed bag. How long do we have left? Okay, so ChatGPT is often misused by the general public, business owners, whether they have time to actually go in and train, and I say train the model. So ChatGPT is, very cool. Get in there, have a play, do some things. Wow, it can write an email. Oh my God, it can do that. Okay.
It doesn't mean it's good or right.
Exactly. So here's something you can literally take and implement straight away for your business. ChatGPT has your conversations, and then it's got projects. Not too many people actually know that you've got projects in there. So think of it like a compartmentalizing process for ChatGPT. So if you set up a new project, you can give it instructions and a set of grounding files. So it's almost like if you've got, I guess, a little bit of an understanding of from a design perspective, you've got a brand kit. Okay, that brand kit is your colors, your logos, images, your fonts, all that, and you're not going to deter from that as a designer. So think about your ChatGPT project kind of like that brand kit. You give it instructions for whatever the purpose of that project is in ChatGPT. You put your files that you want it to adhere to, but you need to connect that with the instructions, and then you've got a nice, neat little cube that is not going to interact with any of the other conversations in your ChatGPT. And that's what's happening if you're not getting ChatGPT to punch out content that you want it to do or be on task, on brand, on topic. It's because you've got too much noise in there. And noise, oh my God, so much. You get a lot of noise. Is it noise or value for your business? So organization is just brilliant. And because I'm so data centric, I've got to have organization, and I've got, all my little projects and things, and it's great as a drafting tool for SEO, but not for, you've really got to work with it. So you've basically got to write your blog, drop it in there and go, and then it will pay attention to very specific instructions that you want to give it. So if you've got a particular phrase that you want to target, it will check it against, and you be specific. Yoast SEO, for example. But the trouble with that is, and this is the drawback, this is the con, it's not necessarily going to know about everything else you've got on your site. And 9 times out of 10, it'll give you something that's going to clash with something else on your site.
So relevancy is so important for every platform. Yeah, so important. Look, I love so much of what you said there. I definitely use projects. I think it's awesome. And you're talking about clutter. If you think about a business, like a business owner and the clutter they've got in their brain and how overwhelmed and scattered you are with everything, it's the same as like having a multitasking brain and a reactive brain versus a proactive brain who single tasks. It's exactly the same. And it's the same as if you throw stuff at your virtual assistant and you're not giving them actual, structured components of what you're doing, so it doesn't make sense to them. I love so much of that. And the other problem that I see as well with the virtual assistants is that a lot of business owners don't want to give their virtual assistant access to their ChatGPT. So what they do is they say to the virtual assistant to use their own. And if you've got a freelancer virtual assistant, they have got 10 other businesses inside their ChatGPT. They haven't customized their ChatGPT, and many of them will have a free ChatGPT. So unfortunately, that's what you're going to get. So for myself, my virtual assistants all log in. They've all got their own working project channels that they can work in. And then whenever I'm writing blogs, we've got a blog project, so we can actually train it in that. We can feed all our SEO words into there. We can do all our research and put it in there. So we can make sure that we're doing things strategically. We're not just shotgun approaching everything. We're doing things strategically, which is so important. Okay, cool. So we've spoken a lot about that. Let's talk about on-site, because a lot of people might not understand some of these words, right? So on-site SEO versus off-site SEO.
Great question. And that there's a lot of, legacy approaches to SEO, which have kind of gone out the window because it creates too much clutter, too much noise. But on-site SEO is obviously all your technical bits, your content, your brand, your holistic approach for synergy and relevance across your site. If you're building it up with too many different things and creating too much noise on your website, Google's going to go, what exactly do they specialize in? Okay, so that's your on-site. Off-site is very much misunderstood, and half of people that I talk to about who come to me specifically for SEO, do you do off-site? Yes and no, because I say no because people seem to think that, do you do directory listings? No, we don't do directory listings. No. I'm not going to foobar your visibility by adding your site randomly into this directory. Why? Because directory listings are just noise. They're most likely a business listing here. I've actually gone in after, they've come from another, I'm not going to say the brands, but another big SEO company here, that will put directory listings for California, Africa, Belgium, like UK. I'm like, what? Why? Just so
To look
there's
busy.
a lot of there's a lot of disavow stuff that ends up needing to happen to clean it up, because they service they're like a local clinic here in Gold Coast or Logan. They've got nothing to do with UK. Nothing to do with US. So why have they got a listing over there? So just purely for the backlink. Okay, we've done something. Tick that box. No. So offsite is your Google business profile. You push your blogs. You go over there. Your social signals. So you're building content in your social media, whether that's Facebook, Insta, TikTok, dare I say it, LinkedIn. So depending on where your marketplace, that's where you want to be more active. These are links back to your site. These are backlinks.
Yep.
And if you're choosing backlinks with, say, brand partners or other websites, top-level websites, .org, .edu, .au even, you want to make sure they're in your lane, like in your industry at least.
Relevancy.
Yeah. And this is your offsite. So this is what helps you to get more. You've got more content or more traffic coming in, more domain authority because of where you're placing your links to your site.
Awesome. I mean, that's exactly why I do the podcast. I do the podcast because now I can backlink. I can backlink to your business now. So, your ideal client is my ideal client. So there's a partnership here. So we can go, well, now I'm in front of your audience, you're in front of my audience, so we can use those backlinks. So, that's a strategic partnership. And a lot of people forget about strategic partnership marketing, which is so important. And that's why guest blogging is so important. Joint ventures, events, co-events is so important. I want to talk a little bit about, go back to on-site, because there's some problems that I've been seeing recently when it comes to on-site SEO with websites, for example. There's a lot of business owners who are doing their own websites. And then there's also a lot of businesses that go, I want a cheap website because I'm starting out. So they go and they get a virtual assistant, a freelancer, or somebody to go and do a website. They pay $500 for it. And then they say, my website's not working. Well, I can tell you the website's not working because they're not doing all the marketing part of it as well. But it's because of the on-site and they're not doing it. There's people that I know that have spent, even some of them up to $5,000 on a website. And when we go in and we have a look at it, they have not even done the foundational SEO stuff. They've gone into ChatGPT, created sales pages, just gone plop, stuck it in there. The business owner's going, oh, I've got such a pretty website. It looks amazing. And they're going, well, it doesn't work. And it's because it's just not getting done, the essential SEO.
Well, getting a website done for just, to start there is not getting your SEO done. And to get SEO done, you don't just want to pay, a web developer because they don't know. I've worked with plenty of web developers. They just don't know. They think they know, and no, just no. we're gonna do this. Okay, all right, yep. But they miss all these other things. So you've got your landing pages. You've got all the structure in that page, all the content in that page that needs the technical SEO applied. But they forget tags, categories, products. Your blog categories, your blog tags, your product categories, your product tags, all these things, images, they in your entire media library, all of these things need technical SEO. And when they're utilized in the page, they again need additional SEO. Not to mention that your plugins and all the adages that tend to come with WordPress, for example, if you've gotten a cheaper website, they will generally use all these glorious plugins. Like, it's pretty, go in there. There's 30 plus plugins. Say what? Or they've gone in and used, say, this amazing tool, which is convoluted and painful, called Elementor. Not going to get started there, but in any case, website design and development is not SEO. You can pretty much expect to spend more on your SEO and marketing than you will on your website. The website's just a start, and it's an organic. It's an organism. It's not, you don't pay and set and forget. You've got to continually invest in the upkeep of that site, and maintenance is not just plugin updates. Sorry guys, it's not. It's just not. You've got continually issues that happen with issues that happen, compatibility with different plugins and things, and then updates will kind of break something, and you've got to constantly manage that on top of managing your blog publishing and all these other things. And it's fun.
So your website is a vehicle, right? It's a vehicle. So it's your vehicle. So first you've got to service your vehicle. You've got to change the tires on it frequently. You've got to check the engine, put oil in it. Like there's the maintenance that happens with that vehicle. But then on top of it, you've still got to put fuel in it all the time. And for me, that's the marketing. That's the ongoing traffic to it.
It's supposed to be 75% of your business.
Yeah.
But before people actually turn around and realize that, hey, there's actually something to be had here with the SEO and the ads with their website, they're 75% word of mouth or referrals, right? So this is where getting an expert SEO in and looking after, like investing in website maintenance and continually investing in your marketing strategy, you can turn that around and have 75% of your business revenue come from your website, meaning that you have to work.
Well, if you're a serious business owner, the reality is that you have to invest in these things because they are your vehicles to generating leads and sales. And it just drives me nuts when somebody goes, I don't want to invest money. I'm just starting out, or even businesses that have been going for a long time don't want to invest in it and don't want to spend money on it. And I'm like, if you want to be a serious business owner, you need to, because the reality is your competitors are. So whoever does it best gets the client. That's my rule. Whoever does it best gets the client. So you can either, bury your head in the sand, or keep throwing money at ads that are never going to work if you don't have this in place anyway.
Well, that's it.
What's the point? Like,
I actually did something interesting at a meeting just a little while ago. 9 times out of 10, people will invest in, say, Google Ads before they do SEO, and they'll put $50 a day in, and it's not working. They want me to increase my budget. So, okay, we'll do 100. So basically they're burning that $100. And if they were to get an expert SEO and ads partner, like Ranking Australia, for example, they could turn around and spend that $100 a day, not just on ad spend, but our services, and turn that into a 400% return on investment at a minimum.
Oh, excellent. All right. Well, that's it for us today. Thank you so much for joining me. So you've got a resource today that you can share with everyone.
Yes, of course. So if you go to rankingaustralia.com.au, you'll be able to book a free Google Discovery call. So that means 15 minutes, maybe longer, to have a chat with me and get some key takeaways as to what's next for your digital strategy.
That's awesome, because Google is the #1 search engine. So thank you so much for joining us today. This is Chantal Gerardy from the Meaningful Marketing Podcast. If you haven't already, please make sure that you like and rate us and comment below. See ya.